Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about the flu vaccine and why we need a new flu shot every year. Vaccines are an important tool that humans have used for hundreds of years to protect people against many harmful or deadly diseases. Vaccines are able to protect us by allowing us to create immunity against specific diseases or pathogens.
In order to stimulate this immune response, vaccines typically contain a weakened or killed version of a pathogen, and they usually take the form of a shot. However, vaccines can also come in the form of a nasal spray. The influenza shot, or the flu shot, contains inactivated influenza virus particles that cause an immune response in your body. Your body's immune system is able to remember different viruses, so even when it encounters the same type of influenza, your immune system knows how to deal with it. Influenza is a virus about 100 nanometers in size, which is over 10,000 times smaller than a grain of rice. Viruses are unlike human cells or bacterial cells because viruses need to be inside of another cell in order to replicate and spread. So how do viruses, or in this case influenza, enter and infect human cells?
Influenza has a protein on its surface called hemagglutinin. This protein is incredibly important for influenza because ultimately it is what allows influenza to enter your cells. On the surface of our cells, we have a molecule called sialic acid that sticks out. Hemagglutinin on influenza virus particles interacts with the sialic acid on our human cells, and this interaction grants influenza entry into our cells, where it is able to make more copies of itself and spread. Now we know that hemagglutinin and sialic acid may be unfamiliar words, and that's okay, and we don't expect you to remember them. The main thing we want you to know is that they are key players on the virus surface and in our human cells, and they interact with each other. The general purpose of the influenza vaccine is to make your immune system produce an immune response against influenza, and commonly the target of your body's response is the hemagglutinin protein. If your body's immune system can figure out how to inactivate hemagglutinin on influenza particles, influenza no longer has a way to enter your cells. After getting vaccinated, your body can produce a response that does exactly that.
In order to survive, viruses make millions, even billions of copies of themselves over time. However, as the virus duplicates, its genetic information undergoes copying errors. Imagine if you were tasked with drawing the same picture many times. Each time you draw the picture, it would look slightly different from the rest. This is similar to what happens when the virus replicates. These errors are not intentional, but they do happen. Over time, these errors can lead to an alteration in the virus's surface proteins, and it is these proteins that our immune system uses to recognize and fight the virus.
Influenza, better known as the flu, is one of the fastest changing viruses, and by the time flu season comes back around, the flu is very different than it was previously. So why do we need a new flu shot every year? As we discussed previously, the flu is always changing, and the virus has lots of time to change in the span of a year. A new flu shot is created each year to include the virus strains that are expected to circulate in the upcoming season. This means that the strains in this year's vaccines may be different from the strains in last year's vaccines. In order to develop new vaccines, it is important to know what the flu most recently looked like. Located around the world are influenza surveillance centers that annually monitor the most common strains, allowing for the collection of data and identification of new and evolving strains. Once the information has been collected, the World Health Organization selects the 3 strains most likely to circulate during the following flu season and creates a flu shot accordingly. This flu shot then undergoes testing to ensure that it is safe and effective. After it passes these tests, the distribution of the flu shot will begin. Thank you for watching. We hope that this video gave you a better understanding as to what the flu shot is and why you should get a new one each and every year.